Hey everybody, my name's Eddie and welcome to the behind the scenes look at transitions. I'm going to show you guys my timeline and all the audio work and just kind of walk through the edit and yeah, let's take a look. This is my timeline right here for transitions. When I first made this film, this was probably the most complex timeline I've had. Believe it or not, they get even crazier than this. But yeah, you can clearly see here, this is the final act of the film. There's a lot of audio going on in there. And as we're in the beginning, you know, you got one music track and the dialogue overlay underneath. But in here, man, did we have a lot of audio. Yeah, let's take a look at the final scene in transitions. I had food poisoning and I was throwing up and I felt terrible. Like I was so drained. I couldn't keep food down. I didn't eat dinner and I could, barely drink water. And we shot all night. We started at 6 p.m. We met at my house, had dinner, and then I threw up. And then we went to shoot the dialogue in the field and I was sick out there. Felt really weak, and then we came back to the apartment. I threw up again, went through makeup for a couple hours, just chilled out, then went back out and shot the werewolf scene. And oh man, and it got cold too. It got cold. You could see our breath that night, and they were just wearing t-shirts, but everyone stuck it out and wanted to be there. And it was, in all, it was a great experience. I learned a lot from this film. It was my first real short film, I guess, something I took seriously and had a crew on. And yeah, it was great. I couldn't have done it without a single less person. Like everybody who was there played a big part in getting this thing done and getting it made. Like it just wouldn't have been possible without them. And I called a few of them last minute, like the day we were shooting or like the day before. I was like, hey, we're going to need some help. Like, I'm in over my head right now. Can you please show up and help me? And they said yes, and they wanted to help me. So it all worked out in the end. If you've seen the film or haven't seen the film, you should go watch it and then come back to this video. Because, yeah, it'll kind of spoil everything for you if you haven't seen it. So, here's a link somewhere here down below. Go check it out and then come back. But we're going to start with the final act because we shot this first. This was the very first thing that we shot. We started off establishing with a full moon that night. Hint, hint. We have Elena raising a gun to her head. And that's a pretty powerful thing. But, if you're there from the beginning, you'll kind of understand what's going on. So, anyway, obviously this gun is fake. This was the very first shot of the night. It was going to be a long night ahead of us. But anyway, we had to get this ball rolling. So we started shooting. Philip is in the background with the flashlight and he's catching up to Elena. And she is telling him to pretty much go away. So, yeah, anyway, gun is clearly fake. If we would have turned it around, there wouldn't have been all these screw holes here and screws. So, but I wasn't really paying attention to details. So that's why it helps to have more people on set who are paying attention to these little things. But we had a very bare bones crew and we just had to get going. So anyway, let's start playing the film.
You need to leave. I don't want you to see me like this.
Shooting at night's very difficult, especially I'm shooting on the Panasonic GH5. It's not great in low light, but man, if you add some lighting to your shot, it's fine. So anyway, we had a ton of lights. We had 5 LEDs, I want to say. I had 3 of my own that I brought. They're Aperture brand bicolors, and we set them to daylight and just turned the white balance down to get this kind of blue tone going on. And my buddy Mike, he brought 2 or 3 of his too, and they're the same kind of lights. So we had about 5 lights going on stands, maybe 3 of them kind of crunched together to sort of simulate the moon. And anyway, we kind of put those off in the background. shine those across as high as we could, get the best moonlight we could. And then we had some off to the side in the corner, up over here, kind of shooting this way, just to sort of fill out the grass. But here's it without color correction. And but yeah, if we didn't have these lights, see how dark it is? There's nothing back there. It is just so dark. So all right, let's continue. Elena is transforming here. Man, I can't imagine doing this. Like, I mean, she's an actress. She's a good actress. So, you know, she brought it to the table that night. Like, she went all out, and I was super stoked to see that, because we didn't have any casting calls or, you know, pre-production meetings or script readings or anything. So I didn't know what to expect when she was going to do this. I just knew I wanted to work with her and Philip because I'd worked with them before. I knew they were good, but I hadn't seen her try to, you know, turn into a werewolf before. So this was kind of a first for everybody, and she just did an amazing job. Like, I don't know what kind of preparation she did, but Elena, awesome. So yeah, this right here, this frame is probably my favorite shot, just because it bridges that gap. It just merges perfectly with Chris's work. You know, like, she has all this amazing real prosthetics and makeup and paint and fur, and we needed something, an element that would, you know, bridge that gap from her being Elena to being a werewolf. It was awesome, and I think the audience really enjoyed this. Anyway, I mainly just took a second layer of her face here and duplicated it on top and tracked it onto her face and morphed it with some liquify effects. If I can get to the last frame here, you can see her teeth grow, her nose, forehead, cheeks. All this stuff is happening on her face, and it's just, oh man, it looks good. I think it turned out really well. Before we did this, though, I wanted to make sure I could do it, so I took my girlfriend out, and I'll throw maybe a screenshot up here. But we went out and we practiced this shot before we went into film, or into production. So I took out a couple of LEDs. I just wanted to be sure that I could pull this off, and I think it came out really well once we had Elena in there, screaming and transforming. So yeah, that was great. And yeah, going into all Chris's costume and makeup here, this is just awesome stuff. And yeah, huge props to Chris. She ended up coming away with first place in special effects. I mean, she did an amazing job for, you know, just a low budget film. We had a very bare bones crew. I think there's only like 7 of us total. So there's me, Chris, Elena, Philip, Michael, Elliot, Bobby. Just a crew of 7 people. And Bobby wasn't even there, so there's only 6 of us on set. Yeah, anyway, for how low budget we were, this was awesome. Like, can't thank Chris enough for doing all the work she did. As you can see in the timeline here too, like, there's so much audio. Like, going back to like this transformation here, and this audio here, it's all Elena. I took a lot of the in-camera audio and the boom mic audio, and I just put effects on it and morphed it and screwed it up as much as I could just to make it sound as monstrous as possible, and it actually worked. It was usable to me, and for the amount of time we had, I think it was great. I only downloaded 2 sound effects that were third party that were in here, and that was like a lion growl or roar, and yeah, maybe like 2 growls or something, and that's it really. The rest of it is all Elena and Philip. Amazing stuff. And this was all sped up, I think 125%, just to give it this kind of like edgy feel. I think is really effective. Because real time, it was a little slow. It looked good, but it was just a little slow in real time, and I liked the like jittery effect it kind of had. It was kind of creepy. So contacts, it's great. Boom. Kind of a break. There's a little bit of digital smoke here. On my monitor, it's really hard for me to see, but when I watched it on the theater screen, I could definitely see it, and it looked kind of fake, but yeah, whatever. It's just another little thing. Subtlety. I think there's a little there too. I like to keep it subtle with digital stuff. Sometimes I'll go overboard if I intend to do it, but yeah, these scratches, man, amazing. Chris did this as well. She had like this silicone on there, I think, something to make it kind of, stick out, and it looked really gross. I'll throw up a screenshot. I got a good photo of that when we were in makeup at my apartment, but really cool stuff. And I think we just cut his shirt with some scissors and sort of ripped it up.
I'm sorry.
Color's a little more neutral since the clouds are in front. And then when it comes out, it's more blue. And thank God for 4K, because I was able to reframe some of these shots, and like this one, you can actually see like the detail in his shirt and like the cut, and I was cropped in like 200%. If I click on this clip, you can see up here it scales from in at like 230%, and it kind of slowly zooms out to 143. It's just like, it's awesome how you can reframe 4K in a 1080 timeline. But yeah, so I was able to sort of have it zoomed in here. I'll show you what it looks like normal frame. So there it is. I just liked having the heartbeat and just being right on his heart with the cut. A little more effective close up too. And the moon. And right here, there's actually some more digital smoke just kind of composited on top of this, just to sort of add an extra element of like, oh my God, he's about to transform, or something's going to happen. Yeah, if you look closely, you can kind of see some smoke coming out of his chest, but it's not that noticeable. You'll probably miss it if you just watch it once. It's a little jittery on my computer, sorry, but yeah, you can go back and watch the film and see the smoke there. And then Philip's awesome yell at the moon that turns into a howl and a growl. And again, that was his voice. The morphs at the end, it's all him. Just put some effects on there, and we had him do this. This was the last shot, I think, of the night, and we had him do this like 4 or 5 times, and it was like 4 in the morning, and we're just out in the middle of this field, and there's a neighborhood out there, but it was maybe 5-6 acres of land. So if you're listening, you could probably hear this guy screaming out there. And yeah, nobody came and talked to us, but thought for sure somebody might roll up and say, what the hell's going on? Like all worried or something. And then at the end, it's very subtle. You can kind of see his face get this purple crack kind of look like there was in Elena's face when she transformed. And it sort of just kind of slowly appears as it pans up. This was tricky too, the moon, getting it to land like dead center like that, because it wasn't actually in the sky. I just panned up to a black frame, like there was nothing there. And I had to get it, dead center, and I had to match the moon falling into frame manually by hand, in After Effects, just like frame by frame. I was like going in and basically rotoscoping this moon in there with clouds that actually are moving. And like you can see the clouds moving around the moon, and getting this whole layer down and getting it to stick dead center with the motion speed of the camera was pretty tricky, but got it and it worked out. Just took a little bit of time, and yeah. Anyway, that's the end of the film. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's kind of fun to just go back and go in depth on the film and talk about it a little bit more and how we pulled off some shots. So yeah, subscribe and we'll catch you later.